So welcome. I'm here, Amelia Brummel, your host of PI Today podcast. And I have my dear friend out from Sacramento, Lee Griffis with Intelligence DX. It's this great, fantastic new platform in the AI spectrum. And Lee, tell us a little bit more. I know we spoke, a year ago now in Arizona. We happened to be in the same place, same time. And you had a trailer out there showing off your motion and spine technology. So tell us where you came from. What's going on now with this amazing platform?
You're absolutely right. Yeah, we just happenstance ended up running into each other in Phoenix. And at the time, we were working with some of our hard assets, which is Spine Motion DX, which are actual bolstering machines, and working with fluoro and other aspects of diagnostics. But, the whole point of that at that time was to develop something that would go around the whole supine static images of MRIs. Mm-hmm. One of the issues with static images is that a lot of times those are utilized in surgery. They'll put them up on a light box, measure out sagittal balance, and get their measurements, pelvic tilt, PI minus LL. Some of the problems with those measurements is that they're incorrect, because when we have to take in consideration sagittal balance and each patient's unique anatomy, it's important to get those correct measurements.
So take us into layman's term, what even a sagittal balance is, and why is that important in knowing those measurements before surgery?
So thanks for asking that, actually, because I always have to explain a little deeper. But everybody has a thing called sagittal balance at C2 over the pelvis.
Okay.
And that's weight bearing.
Okay.
This is basically our correct anatomical sagittal balance in the spinal column being aligned the way it would sit with gravity. Mm-hmm. When we do the MRIs, we're laying down supine, so you're relaxed and you're not in your sagittal balance or weight-bearing state.
Correct.
So when it comes to measurements of the spine, we are a motion. We're always in motion. Human beings move.
Right.
We're never static.
We're never laying down the whole day.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we're static. We're not static
mm-hmm.
beings.
Right.
So when it comes to the surgical side of treating that patient, and it comes to construct building, placing implants in the human body, it's very important to take that all into consideration when it comes to measurement. Because therefore, then we can kind of predict, what the adjacent levels look like, and then also measure out, which we do measure out, is the kyphotic lordotic angles, trajectory, pedicle diameter. So we can already pre-plan exactly what's going to be necessary for that surgery to have a great outcome and have less of an effect on the adjacent levels. A lot of surgeries end up being revised because of the lack of consideration for sagittal balance in that.
Right. And your background for years was in spine, right? As a tech, surgical tech.
Yep.
Doing spine type of
PA, all that. Yeah. As well as selling spinal devices.
Right. So you would actually see and experience somebody in a position, they're getting surgery. They go to get the implants to put into this patient that, have kind of projected a measurement based on just human radiology and looking at that, right?
Yep.
And then making that best guesstimate as to what that person's going to need. But then when it comes time to it, sometimes they don't always fit accordingly, right?
Correctly.
And
Correct.
so this AI-driven platform takes the human air out of it.
Exactly. And a lot of that space is driven by the manufacturer, the educational process to all sales reps, surgeons, and others. There's a wealth of knowledge that surgeons possess, but a lot of times there's a marketing aspect to a lot of the spinal implants. And so what we're trying to do is give them the best markups and the best measurements possible to make sure that every surgery is a great surgery. Mm-hmm. And like I said, we lessen the effects on the adjacent levels. This has been something that's kind of, I wouldn't say plague, but, typically when you hear someone had a fusion done,
yes,
usually they'll come back a few years later and let you know that, they needed another surgery because of the adjacent level picking up those loads.
And having back surgery in general is tough in itself to have to come back again.
Absolutely.
And do it. So this is saving people having to redo a surgery. It gives them better performance overall,
Yep.
makes them feel better. There's not as much pain, I would imagine, associated with
Exactly.
something that's more specific than broad.
Yep. And so when we were talking spine motion DX, we were talking about that asset driven component. When
Right.
we made the move to AI, we wanted to incorporate a lot of different disciplines. So when we move things to AI, we have an ability not just to read the images, but to do it in a very definitive math and science based
Right.
way,
Okay.
as well as not just for spine. Now at this point, we can move into many different areas, extremities. When
Mm-hmm.
we talk total knees and hips, those measurements are very important
Absolutely.
as well as being able to read film for tuberculosis, pneumonia. Oncology is another big one. We have patents that are pending right now for biomarkers that attach themselves to cancerous fascia. And
Wow.
so we'll be able to see that and be able
Wow.
to really definitively pinpoint exactly where that is. So when it comes to time to remove some of that affected
Mm.
area, we're
Mm-hmm.
removing the bad and not the
Not the
healthy and the good.
right. That's
So,
super important. Those people
yeah,
that have those types of masses in their body that are, it's wrapped around arteries or what have you. You
yep,
can't go in there if unless you know absolutely where specifically it is.
exactly,
And this brings it to the table. So that's amazing.
exactly.
Love to see where this is growing in this space. And tell us where this is being used in the workers' comp world
Yep,
as well as
yep,
personal injury
yep. And we
and
want to
normal
Yeah,
insurance
and we want to
world.
build out beyond that, as of course, because it is a tremendous asset to have this in your in available to you to utilize for all forms of treatment. And
Yes.
we really want to vet everything that's possible in an AI world.
Hmm.
Because AI being so definitive, we take out the variability of people reading, human beings reading everything and
Yeah,
basing every form of treatment on that. This is something you can fall back on and then give input into it as well, because of course having human involvement is always going to be a key piece too.
absolutely.
So
It's very similar to our diagnostics with TBI analytics. Just having that image is one thing, but actually having the measurement data, the quantitative measurement to be able to diagnose is another huge thing. So AI is super important, especially when you're making those types of diagnoses for surgical. You got to know how much things cost as well
Yep,
for budgeting
absolutely.
that.
That's a key point right there. So when it comes to spine, being able to predict the actual necessary tools or instruments or implants for a particular case, if you've already got the measurements, kyphotic, lordotic angles, trajectory, screw lengths, diameters, you can now predict and develop single-use kits that make sense. Now
Mhm.
you know this is exactly what you need, so you don't have to have 50 trays in the room
Mhm.
and the cost that's associated with that.
So it's almost like customizing your
Exactly.
treatment basically
Yeah, for
with the
years
implant.
we attempted in the medical device space to create that one unique implant per patient, right?
Yeah.
Well, the reality is you can do that with the diagnostic side, and
Yes.
and prior to surgery, already know what you absolutely need based off of their anatomy.
Wow.
And so it's a game changer. It saves money
Yeah.
in many different ways, whether it's sterile processing
Yeah.
or the the delivery of all these implants and the courier and services and the spinal rep and who has to be in the room and who doesn't. So it's really something that's going to, I think, revolutionize the way we look at treating and building constructs in cases and in patients. So
Absolutely. That's amazing.
yeah.
So, and then tell us where, what states? You're in a lot of different states now.
So yeah, we're in California, we're in Texas, Illinois, Michigan, Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, Phoenix, and moving
Wow.
into a few different areas actually currently. So I'm excited. It's been very interesting,
Yeah.
and at the same time very rewarding because I've been a back patient myself, and so one of the things that I constantly think about is that how do I make this a better space.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically why Intelligence DX, I think, will be one of those AI platforms that actually has a huge presence. And
Yeah.
especially teaming up with the centers of excellence and some of the surgeons that we do, surgeon champions.
Yeah.
I think we're on a good path to really make some good inroads to some really quality construct and types of surgery. So It'll be
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. So when I met you, you had a trailer outside of a hospital in Phoenix,
Yes,
right?
one of our mobile units.
And
Absolutely.
and so how do you get these? Is it a contract with the hospital that you're setting up to where, hey, when you have these types of injuries,
Yep.
then send them our
So it's
way?
both. It's both. So we have that, and then we also have independent private practice surgeons.
Okay.
You know, I really am kind of I lean towards a private practice surgeon
Sure.
because I understand the challenges of
Yes.
marketing your own practice and developing that referral base.
Yes.
And then also, I like the fact that I'm actually allowing them to in-house some of their diagnostic sides as
Right.
opposed to sending it down the street and letting someone else
Right.
handle it. We can
Yeah.
literally take their information and their expertise and place it in this AI side. And
Wow.
I like that
Yeah.
because, you know, that surgeon to patient relationship is important. And they're the ones who've seen these patients and know how they move,
Mm-hmm.
you know, real
Yeah.
time. So that's a good thing.
That's amazing. So yeah, they don't have to depend on somebody else's intelligence behind what they're seeing. They can
Exactly.
actually just depend on an AI platform that's going to give them the answers they're looking
Yep.
for.
Absolutely.
I mean, but you do have um readers. Like you have somebody
Yeah.
that basically goes over the diagnostics and then says, okay, it's
Absolutely. So
there.
I like the human involvement component as well.
Right.
So, you know, I like the layer, I call it layering. So I always have radiologists read every report. And there's
Okay.
a space in there for them actually built in for the AI side for them to give their opinions.
Mm-hmm.
And then also the treating surgeon, whether it's neuro, ortho, spine,
Mm-hmm.
orthopod, whatever the discipline may be, it allows for their input as well and then marries the two.
Wow. So it's a whole platform where all these doctors can come into
Absolutely.
and, it's a team effort, if you will. And so
Absolutely.
they can all be on the same page. They're not waiting for another hospital to get back, send
Yep.
the reports and
And
get
that's
that
the
done.
key thing you just brought up is the waiting time to actually get
Get these
an
reports.
MRI.
Right.
It's amazing. So
Right.
our Intelligence DX will actually generate a 25-page report faster than you can drink a glass of water. Less than
Wow.
a minute. Less than a minute. And not only do you get access to technology, but you also get an expedited report.
Right.
So by the time that patient leaves the office,
They
you already
already,
know. And we already know what we're going to do as far as vetting
wow.
and treating this patient. It's a roadmap to
Wow.
vetting and treatment.
Wow. And I mean, that's one of the biggest obstacles is the frustrations that these patients have that they have to sit there and wait to know what's going on with them and then wait to know well, what's surgery going to look like,
Yep.
and then that's taking up headspace every
Oh,
day that they're
absolutely.
sitting there in limbo waiting for this.
Absolutely.
So then there's that client retention and patient retention
Yep.
that you're going to get if you have this type of platform going.
Yep.
But yeah, it definitely puts you out above the rest if you're getting into this level of technology that absolutely exists. And you were even saying that you looked at this magazine.
Oh,
We've
yeah.
got TBI Times magazine right here,
Yep.
and he just was looking at this going, wait, tell us what you said when you.
So yeah, one of the I call them the founding fathers of motion analysis, literally
Elon Musk.
is in a brain circuit war with Elon Musk right now. He's actually 3.5 years ahead of Elon. So like most technologies, they end up getting just purchased because when you can't compete with them, you just got to buy them
You
out.
just got to buy them out.
So yeah,
And so
it's
yeah.
good company that I'm in, you know, with all the
Yeah.
brass of
I mean, get
motion
that, you
analysis.
guys. If you're
Kinda
listening
crazy.
in and you're watching this, I mean, he just literally said the company that is designed this Intelligence DX is 3 years ahead of Elon Musk in his brain implant.
Circuit, yeah, implants, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're doing them literally right now in my backyard at UC Davis.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's
And so
crazy.
tell us a little more. So they're basically able to put these implants in and understand exactly what's going on as far
They're
as.
able. So the whole point was to be able to have the brain operate like a virtual world, but a real world.
Right.
You know, machines, planes, all that stuff from implanted chips.
Wow.
That's crazy. I don't want to get into that.
No,
'Cause
no,
I
we're
know,
not
you
going to
know,
get into all
next
that.
thing I'll wake
But
up and I'll be scrubbing a house or something. I don't know. So, you know, it's like, you know,
yeah, we're not getting into that.
right.
No, thank you. So, but very cool on where AI is going is, I know there's negative AI and there's very
There's
much
very
positive.
positive, yes.
And we're taking the positive and really running with it. And I think this is an awesome platform. in any event, in any situation that you're running into. But boy, if we can really get our handle on this in the PI setting, I know you are in there, but with PI Today, we definitely want to put this on a level that more people are aware of.
Absolutely.
And get this out there.
Yeah, and you bring up there's pieces of that too. There's disciplines within PI as well, trial attorneys, there's the other
Yes.
attorneys that create the referrals.
And tell us a little bit more about that. Like, if you're a trial attorney, why would you want something like Intelligence DX for your client when you're going to trial and you're facing these medical experts?
Well, the main reason is because it's definitive. It's math and science based. There's no upside to who you work with or where you send people to get their diagnostics, and it's just what it is.
Right.
And so it's a hard thing for someone to oppose, AI, because AI doesn't have the emotion or any of the variability in reading or relationship based networking type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a great tool for the attorneys, and it also helps to, prior to all this, get everything vetted so that patient can get the treatment they want.
Mm-hmm.
Once we have this established, I think it's going to be protocol for all, because you want to expedite treatment. The key thing when you've been hurt, if you've ever been hurt, is to get access to treatment, and anything that stalls that, you're just compounding problems,
prolonging it, and then
absolutely, and more damage.
And then they're turning to other methods for
Well, let's talk about opiates. I mean, that's
exactly.
another thing. What do they do in the meantime?
Just drug them up.
And
numb
it. We all know where that leads. So.
And then addictions and all that. So, boy, if we can start this sooner than later, that's the whole idea. And let's get these people healthy and well again. And boy, I see many different avenues that this can coincide with what we're doing at TBI Analytics. We've got the NeuroCare product that feeds in pulse light medicine so that we know what area we are going to go in with blood circulation and getting that injury repaired at a 3 times faster rate. So if we know precisely where it is, and then we've got the healing modalities to go with it, this is going to really change the way of medicine out here. So amazing what you're doing. Thank you so much for bringing this to humans and in a settings that many are going to be able to get access to. And we're hoping to join forces as well and really move this forward with what we're doing at TBI Analytics and everything else. So thanks, Lee, for
thank you for inviting me, and it's always a pleasure.
Absolutely. All right. Well, join us again on PI Today podcast, where we interview amazing experts and doctors and attorneys that are in this field of personal injury and all the different methods that are here to help as you navigate this big world we're in. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day.